Number one. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Tremendous show, tremendous success.
I'm Mark the Statman Skevich. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Butterbean. Thanks for coming on the program.
Hey, good to be here. Good to be here. Good to talk with y'all.
All right. And interesting story on how you got into fighting in the beginning. There was the series out there, Toughman contest, and you kind of started on a little bit of like a dare from colleagues. Can you tell us about that?
Well, all the guys dared me to enter the Toughman, which I did. Had to lose 20 pounds because I had a 400-pound weight limit. I weighed 420 at the time. And I went on a butterbean and chicken breast diet. And I hated the butterbeans. They just got old. They were bland. You know, in the South, you mix grease and butter and good stuff and a lot of seasoning. But to eat them healthy, you got to cook them just like it is. And it wasn't so hot. So that's how the butterbean nickname come on. And it went from there. After I won 18 Toughman, they told me I couldn't fight in them anymore. And so I said, I want to go pro. I want to go after Tyson, and he never wanted none.
Now, chicken and butter beans, like who came up with that diet? Like how was that like the weight loss diet?
Well, I mean, butter beans, they got a lot of protein. There's not a lot of fat in them if you don't cook with the grease and all. So they're kind of filling, but they're kind of bland.
Now, Toughman contest, you dominated it so much that when the video came out for the Sega Genesis, I remember it, and much like Tyson, you were the main fighter or the boss character all the way to at the end. How did it feel to be on the cover and highlight of a video game?
Well, it was really cool because I was still working a factory job at the time when it come out, so how many guys build mobile homes or have a video game out? So yeah, I've always been humble though about it and, enjoyed it.
Did you ever play the game yourself and try to beat yourself in it?
Oh, without a doubt. I was tough. I mean, it's hard to beat me.
All right. Did you ever end up beating yourself?
Oh, a couple times. I mean, but hey, it was me.
Definitely must have been interesting to play against yourself in a video game. Also, the Knockout King series, I mean, you're a legend out there. I mean, your name lives on even though you're retired. Every single time there's a Knockout Kings video game, you're on there as well. So have you ever tried any of those?
A couple of them. I've played them all. I mean, they always send me copies of the new games coming out and whatnot. And, it's kind of messed up. I fought in Toughman for a long time before that come out. Everybody knew me from Toughman, but as soon as the game came out, everybody knew me from that. And then same thing with professional wrestling when I was in Wrestlemania. At that time I had a lot of pro fights, but after Wrestlemania, everybody wanted to talk about me knocking out Bart Gunn and dominating.
Yeah, but that wasn't your first time in wrestling. You were also in another pay-per-view against Mark Merrill as well.
Sable, yeah, I stole Sable from him.
That's a nice little catch to steal after a match. Definitely must have been a great accomplishment there. But you were very well diverse in the fight world. Like you decided to do not only Toughman, you end up going pro in boxing. You did K1. You did pride fighting with MMA. Pretty much everything out there you did. I mean, it was what motivated you to try a little bit of everything? Well,
there was a guy up north, and he was telling me about, fighting, and Mark Coleman's his name. He's, he fight over there a lot. He goes, y'all try it sometime. So I called him up. I said, sure, I'll try it. Just, what do I got to do? He goes, well, let me check around. Next thing I know, I got promoters from all over the world calling me, and I mean a lot of them. So I said, heck, I'll go over there and fight. I don't mind. So I went over there and knocked out the first guy I fought. Pretty easy. Then they had me go up against... And I knew after I fought him that I needed to learn a little bit more of the technique because there's a lot to it. K1's not an easy task just to step into like I did and knock somebody out. But they wanted me to fight Ernesto Hoost, was the baddest man in that area. So I declined on that one. I go, let me get a little bit of experience under my belt, and then I'll fight him. But once I got a little bit of experience, they didn't want me to fight him no more. But, I learned to check kicks and I enjoyed it. And then I went to Pride. A lot of the fighters, they wouldn't fight both organizations, Pride and K1, because they're big competitors. But they let me do it because they had no choice.
Now, you mentioned fighting all around the world, having promoters all around the world. You grew up in Alabama. You live in Alabama now. Can you tell us, about traveling the world and why you pick Alabama as your home?
Well, I mean, like I said, we're out here outside. I mean, it's real peaceful out here. I love it in the South. I mean, you got neighbors. You driving down the road, somebody's broke down, you pick them up and give them a ride. You don't see that in a lot of places. I mean, in New York, you break down, you're stuck, you're walking.
People got places to go and things to do. They don't really care. But traveling the world, what is that like? As far as I know, when we interview other athletes, basketball players, for example, who travel the world, and it's like a surreal experience because the people out there really treat you like royalty. How is it like traveling around the world?
I mean, the people were really good, responsive. I'm really easy to get along with. I had a great time. I mean, everywhere I've went, China, Japan, Korea, everywhere. Very good people. I mean, they're really good.
All right, well, let's backtrack a little bit to we were talking about Toughman contest. Then you decided to go pro in the boxing world. What was that transition like exactly?
It wasn't that bad. I mean, I fought a real fast pace. Unlike boxing can be boring. I was never a boring fighter. That's why I skyrocketed, and people, I got a lot of fans out there because I was not boring. I went out to fight. Just like, in Toughman, you only got 1 minute rounds. So you got to fight quick. Well, I took that philosophy into the 4-round fights with 3-minute rounds, and I just kept the pace up. So that's why they ended up calling me the king of the 4-rounders, because I fought such a fast pace. They wanted to see that.
Definitely a lot more exciting than when you see a lot of dancing going on there in the boxing world. There's a new style of boxing which, basically you probably would have been the king of in your day. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. Big knockout boxing, BKB. The ring is 17 feet in diameter, a circle, no ropes. 5 or 7 2-minute rounds. So that's a little bit your style of boxing, I guess.
3-minute rounds never give me no trouble. I was able to punch the whole time. To change the sport would be crazy. I mean, they're going to try it. It's not going to work. I'm sorry for whoever's doing it. It don't interest me. Boxing in a ring, that's what it is. It's square, circle, and there it is.
Do you think anything will catch up to boxing? I mean, we see UFC kind of picking up a little bit as far as, picking up a lot actually as far as fan base. But do you think anything will ever catch up to boxing?
Boxing's been around forever. I mean, UFC's kind of, in a way, took over a lot of the fan base. But as soon as we get another big heavyweight that go out there, and bang, and another Tyson or somebody like that, it'll transfer back over to boxing. Hey, Dante might be the one to do it.
Deontay Wilder you're referring to. Right. And you're also involved in the entertainment world. We saw you in the Jackass movie with Johnny Knoxville. Can you tell us about that experience, what it was like? And, Johnny Knoxville's a small guy. I mean, you probably could have done a lot more damage than you did, but...
I didn't realize it was actually really wanted me to knock him out. So I was playing with him for a little bit, and I said, heck, I'll do it. If y'all want me to knock him out, I'll knock him out. I've done other movies before. I was in chairman of the board of the Carrot Top. I've done a lot of different sitcoms. And one I just got back from New York doing one called Friends of the People, which is coming out soon. So keep your eyes out for it. But, it was a lot of fun.
You also had a TV series that lasted for a year where Deputy Butterbean, Big Law. Could you tell us about that?
Well, I worked with the net team prior to Discovery finding out about it, and they wanted to follow us around, and so I said, sure. I mean, and I talked to the police department. They were fine with it, and just to bring people's awareness to what kind of drugs. If you keep your eyes open, there's drugs everywhere. Just keep your eye out, and put a stop to it when you can.
And you have a passion for law enforcement, or what made you get involved with that?
Well, there's a lot of kids go out there getting drunk and drinking and driving and doing drugs, and it's just not a good combination. I mean, I got grandkids, I got kids. I don't want somebody all hopped up on pills or speed and getting in a wreck, and that's where all the theft and things like that come from around here, basically, is the people trying to get money for their drugs. So if you put a stop to it, there's a lot less thieves and a lot less drugs going on.
I definitely agree with you on that one. And you mentioned your kids and grandkids. Here you are, big-time superstar. Now you're taking it a little bit easy. What's the transition like going from the superstar Butterbean to being the family retired man that is now?
I love it. I mean, I have 5 grandkids right now. I love it. I got 2 more on the way. So, I mean, more the merrier. I mean, spending time with grandkids is the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, they say you haven't lived until you become a grandparent. I guess is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, kids are great. You know, they can get by with a little bit, but the grandkids get by with about anything. People say that you can love them and then take them home. They can stay all the time. I wouldn't mind.
There definitely must be a great experience there. Now, I mentioned before you've done a lot of different things: kickboxing, MMA, WWE wrestler. What would you say would be your favorite moment, favorite fight, or favorite activity, whether it was TV or Wrestlemania or a specific boxing fight or fight that you would say was your favorite moment in your career?
Well, you know, I got the most response out of knocking out Johnny Knoxville, knocking him out. I got the most response, but to me was taking on Larry Holmes and going 10 rounds with him where everybody said, oh, he can't go past 4. And I just wanted to prove him. You know, I dropped Holmes in the 10th round, but he won the decision because he was afraid of me. All he wanted to do is jab and run, which he done a good job of it.
And people stereotype the big guys and, you know, kind of feel that they're out of shape and everything, but your training is pretty intense and you do have to pass a physical. Is it the same physical for everybody, or how does that work as far as, you know, considering you were doing 4-round fights for the majority of your career, how does that work as far as the boxing commission and everything?
Yeah, the physicals, everything's the same. As I fought on fights that everybody was borderline blood pressure and all that other than me. I was perfect. The doctors was like, man, you're the biggest, most out of shape looking one here, but you're in the best shape out of everybody. I said, the big guy's got to work harder. You know, to be able to do what I did, I had to work harder than everybody else.
As far as big names that you fought, Peter McNeely was kind of one of the bigger challengers that you had. You mentioned Larry Holmes already. What was it about the Peter McNeely fight? You ended up winning that fight. Did you feel like you proved yourself a little bit more since he was more of a recognized name?
Not really. There wasn't much to McNeely. I mean, I even said that when Tyson fought him. I said, you know, you don't put me in there with Tyson, then you'll have a fight. You know, McNeely was just a walkover. I'll be honest with you. I walked over him easier than Tyson did. But, you know, there was other fighters out there, a guy named Louis Monaco. You know, he knocked out Kevin McBride, which McBride ended up knocking out Tyson. So there was a few other names that kind of slipped under the radar, but real tough guys.
And you mentioned Tyson. That's a fight that you always wanted in your career. You once said that one of the reasons why you got into fighting was to fight Tyson. Why do you think it never happened?
You know, one thing I had power. And that's one thing they knew they didn't want to put up Tyson against, somebody that had power that would go at him. You know, McNeely kind of showed one thing to everybody how to fight Tyson. You got to go at him. You got to, you know, McNeely didn't have the weapons to go at him, but I did. You know, you got to go straight to Tyson, go in there banging, and he really can't handle that. He's used to being, you know, moving and defensive and jumping when he wants to. But having somebody go at him, he just couldn't handle it.
And Kimbo Slice called you out a few years back, but you were already pretty much along the lines of retiring at that point. Is it because you were retiring that you didn't want that fight, or what is the reason for that?
Well, it was a never offer. I mean, Kimbo wanted to use my name to kind of bring himself up, but when it come down to it, they didn't want to fight me. Kimbo's a joke. I'll be honest with you. Kimbo's a joke. Yeah, he beat up people from Walmart parking lots. Good move. Made a lot of money doing it, but as far as an actual boxer, he ain't never going to do it.
All right, there you have it. Is there anything that you want to say to the fans out there? Any message to the fans out there?
Hey, enjoy life. Spend time with your kids and grandkids. You'll never regret that.
What about aspiring fighter that's out there? Any words as far as motivational words for the fighters out there?
You know, the main thing I can say about fighting, and that's when I started actually doing a lot better, go out there and have a good time. You got to enjoy doing it. If you're not enjoying having fun, don't do it. I mean, you got to enjoy doing it. You got to go enjoy going out there, and you got to enjoy working out. The morning runs ain't always the best, but, hey, you got to have fun doing it.
And was there a favorite fighter that you had growing up that made you into fighting?
Originally it was George Foreman, and then a couple. I'd only follow some of the fat people that I like Johnny Tapia was a lot of fun. Mickey Ward Gotti, they're both fun to watch. Just fun fighters that have good personalities about them. But Big George, he kind of helped me out. I mean, he really inspired me.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think of the MMA fighter, Big Country?
Nothing impressive. I just don't like him, like his attitude that much. I mean, it's just he don't impress me.
Well, I'm personally a fan of the big guys that look a little bit overweight but can handle their business. So that's why you were one of my personal favorites.
I'm not saying that. I just don't care for him. I watched the show when he was on it, and I mean that's about all I've seen him fight. If he's improved since then, I'm happy for him. But he had a long way to go from the show.
All right, and once again, Mark the Statman Skevich here with the legendary Butterbean, one of my personal favorite all-time fighters. Great to have you on the program.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Tremendous show, tremendous success.